Hello, Angie. Because normally I would just delegate this to Norb to fix, but I feel bad about that. I got Theo in the wings back there, so we're in good shape. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. My name is Sean, for those of you who don't know me, because I see a lot of faces here who are now at NPR West long after I left. This is a celebration of Norb and Rima, because we're not going to forget about Rima, because Rima departed NPR so long ago and was wonderful enough to let us have Norb for the next 20 years after that. So I'd like you all to raise your glass. We're going to have a toast, kind of a little video. We'll let the guest of honor say a couple of words. For those of you who know people in engineering, with the exception of Leo, we are a quiet lot. We don't talk often. We are intimidated in a room with David Green because we just don't do this. And I think Norb has always really followed that. We're there in the background. We're there for you guys. I could go on and on about Norb, but I'm not going to. I tried to find an old memo when Norb and Rima came down from San Francisco that I had written to the NPR West staff announcing Norb coming down and working there. And I couldn't find it. But to this day, I still remember the last line of that memo, and it's still something I really do truly believe. Norb is the smartest person I know. He doesn't talk about it, he doesn't say it, but he is the smartest person I know. And we wish him so well over the next decades of not being called in the middle of the night. So please, raise a glass to Norb. Cheers. Cheers. Let's have a drink, it's free.
Well, it's on Sean, actually. Yeah. Sean.
And now I hand it over to Angie, who's going to play a nice, cute little video.
Theo?
Okay. So I just want to say I've worked at NPR for 14 years. Actually, I share an anniversary with Norb. And this might be the most nerve-wracking moment of my life because I have to do AV for Norb. So let's hope this goes well. If it's not, I'm going to ask Norb to fix it. But I'm going to try.
That's what I always do.
Hey Norb, I just want to wish you all the best as you go into this next chapter of life.
Where would NPR be without Norb Gallery?
Norb, we're going to miss you. Best of luck with everything you do.
I am in awe of anyone who's been around here for almost 40 years.
Norb, one of my first memories of you was working at the Philly Democratic National Convention.
Always prepared, always asking the right questions.
Also very appreciative of all of the genius systems that you built.
Long before Norb taught me everything I know at NPR, he was instrumental in creating, designing, building all the systems at NPR.
Norb has paved the way for so many technical things.
You are the definition of what a brain trust is.
You've taught me a lot. You've taught a lot of us many things around here, and we deeply appreciate it, and just know they'll be long-lasting, the things that you put in place.
Everything from the label maker for the big old 10-inch reels that we used to make for archival copies, all the way up to my favorite, which was the Norb-O-Matic monolyzer.
When I went to Emerson College, one of my first professors there had told me that he could teach me everything I would technically need to know about running a radio station in about an hour. I've been with you for 20 years, and I'm not sure that an hour covers it, because I haven't learned all that you know from you about how to work in radio technically.
I can't express
how much I appreciate your ability to take on new challenges, new equipment, new ways of working, and just make it work and make it work better.
Norb was able to figure out how to get Lavo hardware to work with Klotz hardware. This is Klotz, the crazy complicated audio routing system in New York that Norb not only taught me how to use, but he also writes the code and updates and helps me out whenever I'm in a jam, hardware or software. See this? This is Kronos, as most of you know, the timesheet software that Norb taught me how to use. This is Audio Vault. This is the audio backup system for some of NPR's 24/7, 365 services that Norb not only taught me how to use, but he helps me maintain it too. This is the HTML file that I have to update every week that keeps the online version of text schedules up to date and that Norb taught me how to use. This is the D-sheet entry form that Norb not only taught me how to use, but also, I believe, created from scratch 30-something years ago. This is Schedule-All, the system that NPR uses to keep track of studios and lots of other resources in our 3 primary locations that Norb taught me how to use.
It wouldn't be cool to use a Macintosh computer at NPR if it weren't for Norb.
All your early programs were written on Macs. I think there's still a couple Macs running here with programs that you developed.
The PowerBook 170. And the PowerBook 170 was something close to $4,000. Neither of us could afford it, but you and I both needed to have it, and you needed to have it a bit more than I did by just a couple of hours.
We were in New Hampshire, Manchester at the New Hampshire primary. And we all went down to the Apple store in Nashua. I got a brand new MacBook there that you helped me pick out because it was a no sales tax day.
You know, when I started working at NPR in the year 2000, you had already moved to the West Coast. And that was the year that I started working in NPR's Master Control at the old building at 635. And I remember very specifically my first training and really my first orientation of that facility with then Master Control Supervisor Rich Rary. And what was really amazing was despite its enormity, it was really easy to understand. And when I made some comment to Rich about just how well laid out it was, he replied something along the lines of, well, that's what we call around here Norb elegance.
Where when a new piece of equipment was introduced that you had something to do with, you took meticulous amounts of time to figure out how best to use it, how best to name things, how best to organize software.
So best of luck with everything you do. We'll miss you.
We're going to miss you, Norb. Thank you so much for everything.
Best of luck to you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
I wish you luck. I wish you well.
So thank you, Norb, for all you've done for NPR.
We have great adventures going on from here. We'll miss you very much.
Hi. There we go. I go back. I didn't go to audio engineering school. So I just want to say thank you to Art Silverman. He's actually the one who produced this film, this video, because we wanted to make sure the people who were in Washington at headquarters who couldn't be here tonight but have worked with Norb for years and years and years were able to participate in the evening. So those were all of our, not all of our, but many of our colleagues from the technology division in Washington. So, and Art was the angel who put that together for us. So, thank you. Norb, would you like to come up and say a few words? Okay, you know how this works.
I'm not sure I do, but let's see, let's start out. It all started in a 2,000-watt radio station in San Diego, California. No, really, it did. That's the first place I was paid, anyway. I worked at a college station before that, a carrier station. But I was working for KPBS in San Diego. The state of California at the time, the minimum wage was $1.65 an hour. They thought so much of us as student assistants that they paid us $1.66, which was really nice of them at the time. Stuck around there for a while, did a couple of, worked on a granted project which gave me actual money, And then when that ended, I went back to, well, a little higher than what that was before, but it was stated that it might be a good time for me to move on. And at the same time, I got an offer to work for National Public Radio. So I moved east at that point, hoping to find my wife, because I hadn't found her yet in San Diego. And well, 10 years later, she finally showed up. But we'll get into that a little bit later. I've been able to do some amazing things and see some amazing things as well. I want to talk about two events that I went to, other than the various political conventions and the PRCs, the Public Radio Conference, for those of you who don't know about that fine establishment. And they were, in 1988, I think it's the most momentous thing that I've ever been to, which was the Rogers Commission hearings at the State Department in Washington. This is the hearings into the Challenger disaster. And at that time, if I think back to that, I cannot think of anybody who was on the panel except for Richard Feynman. And he had this ability to take extremely difficult, extremely technical things and make them understandable. And I just love that idea. He was talking about the material that had failed in the Challenger disaster, and what he had done before. There were all of these engineers giving long-winded discussions about how it's supposed to work and how it couldn't possibly have failed. And we broke for lunch, and when we came back from lunch, he started out by saying, well, I took your stuff before lunch and I plopped it into my drinking water here. And as I take it out here, I notice that it's no longer flexible, it's very brittle. And he was taking it and just saying in English the way something actually worked. And I was so interested in that. I mean, so amazed about that. I think the second, what was actually the biggest event that I was at was the signing of the Oslo Treaty between Israel and Palestinians. And that was at the White House. I was there. Well, okay. This was on the back lawn of the White House, so they were up against the White House building, and I was up against the far fence. So being there, well, okay, I was near it. But it was interesting to be in that kind of thing. I used to actually do the White House, Reagan's regular talk that he did there, and we used to have to send an engineer to the White House to do this sort of thing. And I had already had 8 years of Reagan in California. I was pretty well sick of him by that point. So it was really amazing that I never did reach up and just turn him down, which is what I really wanted to do. I've worked with some amazing people. Many of them are in this room. It's been a grand experience, and I've loved many parts of it, and there are others that I would never want to go back into again. But thank you so much. This has been an amazing event. Thank
you. So we had to figure out what parting gift we should give Norb, parting from NPR. And of course there's the generic, let's give him the gold watch. Nobody wants to do that. Norb's too important, let's not give him a gold watch. So we reached out to Riemann and said, what should we get him? And he said, get him an Apple Watch. So there you go. Before we finish up, a special thank you. And of course, this is the same thank you that you see for any NPR West event. A big thank you, of course, to Angie and to Carolyn, especially Carolyn, for putting this all together. Absolutely incredible. Thank you all so much. Please, it's not done. There is cake now, and it's really cool. The bar is still open. Help yourselves. Thank you, and thank you, Norb, and thank you, Rima.
Thank you.
Thank you.